All right, everybody. Here is a screen reveal. Yes, it starts with a blank slide. This works really great if you have a projector. It also works great if you have a TV. The bigger the TV, the better. And you can also zoom in somewhat on these images too, or when we can, have our kids get closer to the screen. But this is a really good deal to get kids talking. It could be a lesson in and of itself, and to get the class interested in what you're doing. So I start with a blank screen. I'm going to walk you through it fairly quickly, and then I'll show you how I do it. So we start with a blank screen. Hey guys, we're going to look at some images. Have my first image here. What do you see in this image? And we ask them to describe. What do they see? Looks like people have some fish here in the middle. There's a basket full of some goods. We have some people wearing, different types of jewelry or adornments. There's a dog in the background. So we just go through and we, get different ideas of what people see in the picture. Then we get another picture, another image. What do we see in this image? Well, we see mountains, we see hills. It looks like there's some huge buildings, like there's a big city here, right? Just prompting questions. Again, if the kids need to get a little closer to the TV, that's great. On a projector, it comes up a little bit bigger, but this does work. I have a 65-inch TV in my room and a fairly decent-sized classroom, and this works really well. So even with that size TV, you can make it work. Got another image. What do we see here? Well, it's a stone carving of something. It looks like there are people that are farming and pulling things up out of the ground. What do you see in this image, right? You can get the idea. We keep going through this and prompting questions. Some kids start thinking, do all these images go together? Right now we brought back that first image, but there's more to it. So that leads to, okay, we saw what we saw here in that first image. Now what else do you see here? There's a severed arm here with a guy holding it and a woman who looks like she's really dressed up with a lot of lilies behind her. So we keep talking about what's happening. Again, some kids start realizing that this may be connected somehow. Here's another one. What do we see in this image? And we keep going through the progression. Oh, look, there's that image that we saw. Now it's connected to all these others. What do they have in common? What do you notice? Oh, there is a couple that we put together. We've seen this image. We've seen this part of the image. So we have all these different images. They're starting to realize this is the same image. And what's happening here? What is this place? And we bring more and more in, bring more images in as we finally get to reveal that it's all in one image. I do this as an intro to Tenochtitlan, the Aztec capital, to get kids talking about it before I do a lesson on it. You can use this. It works really well with the Manifest Destiny painting. It works really well with, it doesn't work perfectly with every single image, but there are a lot of images where you can do this kind of reveal. The Manifest Destiny is great because you can show the little corners and show things that are happening, have kids talk about each thing, and then talk about how they all interconnect. One technique I learned with this with a friend was that if you do this and leave that one covered up and try to walk away, just play like you're not going to reveal the whole thing. The kids, it piques their interest even a little bit more and gets them more into it. But then we get done and that's it. Then we start our lesson on Tenochtitlan, and it's a really good way to get things going. Now let me show you how this works. So first of all, I start with an image. Right, that's my image. So I'm going to duplicate that. And I would start with this here at the very beginning. I'd start with my blank slide, and then I would start with this image. And then what I do is I just draw shapes over it. You can see I just drew shapes, and I made them white, and I covered up all of the image except for whatever part that I want to show. Right, so I cover up the whole thing. Now, it doesn't matter if they look all weird. I tend to like them to cover the entire thing, but it's not that big of a deal if, they look all weird. They don't necessarily fit exactly. It's off the edges because when you put it in present mode, all they're going to see is this portion. And then what happens on the next one, I add two more, right? I add different. Well, I don't add two more. I just duplicate the image again. So in order to duplicate, you right click and duplicate the image. And then I add boxes in different places. Boxes in different places. You might have to be creative with how you put your boxes in. You might need more than one. Let me show you how to create those boxes and how to fill them. Not that difficult. So in my original image, if I want to cover a part, I use a shape. And in this case, I just use a simple box and I cover it. Now it's not white. I want it to be white. So what I do here is I go up to the fill tool and I'm going to fill it with white. And I'm also, it's still going to have an outline. I don't want the outline either. So I'm going to come up here to the border tool and I'm going to make that transparent. I can make it white or I can make it transparent. And there you go. So if I wanted to just cover up the rest of this, I just keep drawing shapes. All right, maybe I want to cover up this side. Again, I'm going to fill it white. I'm going to make it transparent. If you don't want to keep using the fill tool, if you want to make it a little bit easier, you can copy one of your boxes and then paste it. And then you can just reshape that box however you want to have it shaped. So in this case, I'll do that. I'll pull it over and there you go. When I present that, it'll look like this. Now, I did use some transitions to have some things fly in. All I did was I used the fly in tool. You don't have to use transitions. So the transition I used was I just had it slide in from the right, and it was just the overall slide would slide in. So it looked like that image, even though it was everything, it just looked like that image was sliding in. And that gave that effect. So in order to add a transition, you could hit transition. What do you want to use? I used slide in from the right. Boom, each one slides in from the right. And that's it. Pretty quick, pretty easy, pretty simple. And this is a pretty fun, effective lesson. Again, it doesn't work on every single image, but it works on a lot of images. And it's a great lesson starter. It could be a standalone. It could be a lesson in itself. So give it a try. You'll have a copy of this. You can dissect it. You can see how it works. And then create your own and use it. Pretty cool idea.